everyone. Good evening. This is Real Bucks Talk. We are back here on a Tuesday night, and it's great to be back on. It's also great that the Buccaneers finally have an offensive coordinator that we thought was the favorite. We put a video out just shortly before he got hired, the night before. So really excited to be right about that, but I think it's the right fit for this team, and that is Liam Coen. And as always, I'm your host, Michael Plus, joined as always my co-host, Mark Ramirez. And Mark, I think we found the right guy. I think this guy understands what it takes to have a successful offense. Now it's just about putting it to execution, and he understands that it's a player-driven league, which is nice.
Yeah, I mean, everyone probably in the group saw the press conference today. That's why we're having it today. We delayed it today because we knew it's probably going to happen soon. So plus wasn't feeling good under the weather, but he's back.
Mhm.
I'm usually the one that does that, but yeah, I mean, this is a very knowledgeable guy. That's why we thought he was like the lead candidate because he talks football very, very fluently. Similar system. A guy that Sean McVay talked very extremely highly of, and like everything that I went and looked at, I'm like, this guy screams like what Dave Canales was, screams of just a knowledgeable guy that it seemed like Todd Bowles was looking for in the first time, and I'm like, this isn't checking all the boxes for me. Like a guy that's innovative, went to college, knows you have to keep being innovative and adding to your system, not just the same old dinosaur crap like we had with BA and Leftwich, right? So
Mhm.
this is the new face of the NFL, not just young, but he's bright. He knows what he's doing, learning from Sean McVay. Like I haven't said that enough, but I mean, he talks the talk, and we'll talk about it more today in the live stream. But yeah, it does feel good to call out this is the guy, but you hope this is the true guy, not just he talks a good salesman pitch, right? Let's see if
Mhm.
he can actually put it to fruition here in Tampa Bay.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I mean, just looking at the past, his history as far as coming up with Sean McVay, starting, about I think it was like 2018. He started, with Sean and got his opportunity working along, side him as assistant coach, and then, uh, left in 2021 to go be the OC for Kentucky. Worked with Will Levis, helped him develop into, a quarterback, our drafted quarterback at least, and had a very good season in that year. They had a very good offense overall. So and then he goes back to the Rams as offensive coordinator in 2022, but didn't call plays. Now he called plays. Interestingly enough, when Baker Mayfield showed up, I think it was about week 12 or week 13, when Baker was there, and he called the plays for the rest of that season, and the offense showed life, that showed spark. So I think that is pretty cool to see, and I'm very excited to see what he can bring. And obviously, it seems like Baker Mayfield is his guy if they can bring him back on a contract.
Potentially.
Um, yeah, potentially. He talked a lot about Baker as being the guy moving forward. So that will be, something to watch for and see how that goes, and up in the next couple weeks. Obviously, the first thing that he talked about was obviously building a staff, getting the staff completed. So that'll probably be the main priority right now. So that'll be exciting to see what happens there. But yeah, I mean, a lot to be intrigued by with Liam Coen. I think he talked a lot about the right things. And I'm really excited that he's going to be calling plays with purpose, getting the ball to his best players. And that's what really gets me intrigued for this hire.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? Let's not talk. Let's talk on what he was mentioning during the press conference. So we got a couple clips. Not going to
Yeah.
play the whole damn thing, but just a couple of the highlights that I thought there was. So let's bring him up. And again, guys, he's not Dave Canales. I don't know why everyone thinks he needs to be a good-looking guy to be a good coach, but let's hear Liam Coen talk on what he thinks this Tampa Bay offense should be and what he's going to bring to it.
Kind of talked about before was get the ball to your best player as many times as possible and see what happens, and try to be as efficient as you can on early downs, win third down in the red zone. But that's kind of the biggest thing in LA was
Okay. Let's stop and talk on that one. So
Yeah.
simple enough. Get the ball to your best players, right? Be efficient. on early downs and score when you're in the red zone. So I guess talk on those first things. Like you just said, get it to your best players, right? Simple enough.
Yeah. Right, yeah, absolutely. It's designing plays for those guys, and I liked how he also talked about having, like, a player box, like, stat
Yeah.
sheet, like how many times this guy's touched the ball or, who's getting the most, opportunities and stuff like that. So he keeps track of those things. I think that's smart because sometimes there's situations where you just have to find a way to get the ball to Mike Evans. Like that's what it should be. Same thing with Chris Godwin, like finding ways to get those two the football a lot. Like they should be a high percentage of our touches in this offense because they are the best and they're paid the highest. So you might as well get them the football, right? And and then he also talked about finding different ways to get the ball to Rashad White, utilizing him out of the backfield in different ways. So I think that's a lot of fun. And yeah, that's important. So that was a thing where I thought Dave at times he was up and down with it. Like he understood, okay, we need to get the ball to Mike here, but sometimes it just wasn't designed the right way or had a purpose behind it. I think Liam's going to have purpose behind it to intentionally find ways to find the matchup because he talked about like attacking defenses, like understanding defense. That's the big thing.
Yeah, that was cool that he said that when he went to LA with the Rams and McVay, it was more about studying the defense, trying to understand more about the defense than we did about how good our guys were. So,
Right.
if, like we always say, attack weaknesses. So, if you know the defense in and out you're facing, you know where you can attack, right? This should, like, I always hated when Winston would always say, "We don't worry about the other team, we worry about us." Like,
Yeah.
that's such a stupid, blind mentality. Like, clearly, the easier way to win a game is to attack the weakness of the other team, and they keep doing it until they have to change something,
Mhm.
right? So that is music to my ears, 100%. And
Right.
again, I'm sorry I had to mention Winston, but that was just one thing would irk me every damn press conference. He'd say it. I just couldn't believe it. But yeah,
Yeah.
like getting the ball to your best players is huge. And he mentioned the one guy in Kentucky that blew up when his first season there, Wendell Robinson, is on the
Right.
Giants now. He had like 100 and something catches, 1,300 yards. He's like, he was our best player. We had to get him the ball. Like
Yeah.
that's the thing that'll keep him, let him get to sleep at night. If I'm getting my best guy the ball, that means we're putting ourselves in position to win a game, right? If I
Mhm.
didn't get the ball to Mike Evans, he only had one catch until the second half. There's a problem there. I didn't get him the ball in a way. And
Mhm.
sometimes you did hear Canales say, "Oh, well, the system will get it to him. He's a good player. How about we open it up for him?" Right.
Right.
And I like the way he said he's going to use Godwin, bring him in the backfield. We haven't seen that in a while either. Uh,
Mhm.
using him in the Cooper Cup fashion, like there's just ways you can get these guys open, right?
Yeah.
But also wanted to talk about being efficient on the early downs. Like
Mhm.
in your mind, what do you see as that? Because like Dave Canales, a lot of times is running efficiently in the first downs, right? So what do you think that means by efficient on the early downs?
Yeah, I think, for him, I'm hoping it means, whatever is effective, whatever is working, that's what we're going to be calling on first and second down. So I think that's finding whether that's passing on, yeah, players over plays. Yeah, exactly. I thought that was huge. But yeah, early down efficiency, I think is going to be very important. That was something that the Buccaneers struggled with last year because at too many times they were playing for third down, it seemed like. So I think he's going to find ways to, hey, if we can throw the ball on first down and get a first down, let's do that. I think that's going to be very important for this offense. But that doesn't mean he's not going to run the ball on first down. I think it's just finding ways whatever is working or whatever he feels is going to work, that is what he's going to go with. And it's about being efficient. So whatever we do best as an offense, that's what I think you're going to see more often on, first and second down. Like if he knows right away, okay, we're not going to be able to run the ball, let's throw it to maybe set up the run later. I feel like that is going to be his MO, moving forward.
Yeah, and then touching on that, like you
Mhm.
heard him say it again. Like everyone always thinks Todd Bowles has control. He's strangling the guy. Run the ball, run the ball.
Yeah.
He didn't do that to Dave Canales in the playoffs, right? That
Right.
was open free reign. The Lions game, I feel like we're throwing nonstop, and it was working, right?
Yeah.
Y'all, I don't think I saw Todd Bowles run over there and smack Canales in the ass and say, run the ball a couple more times. I don't like no, you didn't see that. A lot of this is he's giving free reign. He mentioned it in his press conference. A
Right.
head coach is going to give me the opportunity to do what I want to do.
Mhm.
Bull's like, okay, you sound like you know what the hell you're talking about. Go get me. Right. Like, so you always beat my ass. Right.
Mhm.
Bull. So let me see what you can do against other opponents. Right.
Yeah.
Uh, so, I mean, early down efficiency, I think he's going to do a lot more wide runs too. Dave
Yeah.
Canales believe in that a lot. But a lot of this is all their offense is predicated on a good running game. And in
Mhm.
Kentucky, he had a really good running game. Can he
Yeah.
bring that over here? That's a big thing of efficiency because if you get early downs, 4 or 5 yards, second and thirds are way easier, right?
Mhm.
So we need to get efficient with that. And then lastly, red zone. We were terrible in the red zone last year.
Yeah.
To hear that, yeah, that's huge. But can he come to fruition? Yeah, you would think. You have Mike Evans, a jump ball target, Rashard White in the backfield against linebackers. Come on, like, right? So he has the weapons, and you heard him talk nothing but good about our weapons. So hopefully
Mhm.
that red zone efficiency goes up.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the big thing that you mentioned though is the running game that he had at Kentucky. Like, I think let's not mistake this for, a pass happy OC. Like, I thought he was pass first in my initial thoughts, but looking at the tape and what you told me about Kentucky as far as running the football, the run game is everything for this offense. Like, he builds it around that. So I think that's a big why Todd Bowles really wanted this guy, because he understands the importance of running the football. And that's something that we haven't had over the last couple of seasons, obviously dead last in those categories. So I think that's going to be, yes, no, the house did come with a ceiling fan. I think he did. I don't know. Did you put it in, Mark?
I actually put that fan in, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
I did come with one, but it was old shanty looking thing. No,
You replaced it.
I replaced it with a newer one.
Yeah. But the main thing is, I think he understands the importance of the run game, and that will be a big factor. Um, can this run game and can this run game improve? I think that'll be huge. So that'll be interesting to see what he brings and what type of personnel, maybe he'll be asking Jason Light for, as far as upgrades or additions, because there's certain personnel that he had at Kentucky that, he might like to add here, to bring to the table.
Yeah. I mean, it's all good things you're hearing, right? I mean,
Mhm.
there's nothing negative. It's funny how I saw so many people on Twitter saying, "Wow, I can't believe it." I'm like, "Did you guys not look him up at all prior to him coming here?" Like,
I mean, we gave you a heads up. I mean, it was only like 12 hours, but we gave you a heads up.
best we could do, right? With what
Yeah,
we had, is best we can do. Uh,
right.
Let me see if I can actually move my mouse. I don't know why it's not moving right now, so I can try and play the rest of the clips here. Oh well, plus you're gonna have to
Let me
pop that
see.
bad boy on there.
Can I bring it back up? Let me see. Maybe it'll just play automatically or no.
Oh, wait, no, of course. User error. What in the world, man?
Yeah.
Oh, now we got okay. Now, nope.
Okay.
Here we go.
Now try it.
Yeah, let me switch back over. Actually, you know what? You click the thing, and I'll just
Okay.
play the video.
All right. I
There
got
it
it on
is.
there. Yeah.
Professional, guys. Real professional.
The biggest thing in LA was creating different pictures for the defense, pre-snap. So, the illusion of complexity for us was something that we strived for. Was, man, let's do the same things that we like to do and that we're good at doing, but change the picture with pre-motion shift, tempo change, tempo out of the huddle change, go no huddle. That's something that we really worked on and believed in LA. I mean, you watch those films of Cooper Kupp and Puka and all those wideouts, man, they run a lot during pre-snap, and how we would end up in the final formation.
Okay. So talk on that. There's a lot of little things he mentioned
Right.
that can make an offense put the defense on its heels, right? Because
Mm.
traditional offenses, okay, you hike it, cool. Next play, let's all huddle. Let's talk about it. Let's think about it. Let's get a call from the defensive side. With tempo, up tempo, it could be either you're just rushing the snap at 15 seconds in.
Right.
It could be like you're doing it no huddle, you're just going, right? I mean,
Mhm.
he's talking those things and then also moving everyone. We saw a little bit of that, or a lot of that with Canales,
Yeah.
as we didn't see with Leftwich, but talk on all those little key coaching points.
Right. I think, first things first is I love the similarity. Every play looks the same, but it's going to be something different. We had some of that with Dave, but I think Liam is going to bring that more to an extreme. Also, the motion I think is going to be ramped up, which is great. The pre-snap motion of getting guys on the move. I think a lot more of that is coming, which is great because it just brings so much to your offense. It brings, it gets defenses moving, it gets defense confusion, and it just opens things up for the run game because that's what it's all built off. So I think the marriage is going to be a little bit tighter with the run and pass. You're going to see, just different things where the protections are built in off the run and then play action off of that, rollouts. We saw it with when we did our Rams breakdown of Baker Mayfield, we saw it in there where there's a lot of movement, moving the play action. I think that was huge. So and then what you were talking about, tempo. I think tempo is great. I think that will be another factor. We saw that with Detroit. I mean, Detroit got us a couple times where they were just moving faster, snapping and being more ready, and our guys were still communicating, not ready. So yeah, that's a huge thing moving forward. And I think that's today's NFL. Like you gotta mix things up to keep these defenses off kilter because they're too good to just keep doing the same thing.
Well, hell, we saw this first game of the year this year against the Vikings. The
Right.
one touchdown they had, Jordan Edison, was we weren't ready. I mean,
Yeah.
what is Kevin O'Connell? He is a product of the Ram system, same type
Right.
of thing, changing things up. Like that's how you. I mean, if you just go mono mono, you heard this with Canales. Like this is reading the same voice, right? Like he's like, okay, defenses. They look at tape too. They know what we're doing, and if you set up and just in the same thing, they're going to read your keys and they're going to take you out. You got to be able to be Houdini a little bit, right? And that's either rushing it with different motion guys, hiking it too early where they can't read, going no huddle where they have to just say go in base because we can't decipher what the hell's going on. So you keep them thinking like that, you can get a defense off its base and attack, right? But yeah, the offense has to know what it's doing to that for that to happen. That was a lot of what Dave Canales is trying to instill, but he's gone. So good luck trying that with Carolina.
Yeah.
Now let's go back over to the last little bit that I had of him. Yeah. Thank you for that because my mouse is just being a turd right now. Here we go.
Just by 3 different formations, double Dixie and Daffy, we just moved the F in 3 different positions. So ultimately, at the end of the day, we have to be able to move them around by formation, but also motion. Do we start them in the backfield? Do we bring them in the backfield and now try to shuffle them out and be able to get them matched up on a will or a nickel or a backer or a down safety?
Yeah, this is just him talking about moving Mike around, right? Finding ways to get the guy, the ball. And it's just the same setup, right? But putting him in different positions in that setup, right?
Right, absolutely. And I think you're going to see a lot of that with, Chris Godwin. Probably, that was talked about today where after the press conference, he said, Chris is most likely going back into the slot. He's going to be that Cooper Kupp type of role, which is exciting. I think that's going to be really good for Chris. And then, yeah, like you said, with Mike moving around more, I think being inside or outside, finding different ways to get matchups for both of those guys, I think is going to be a lot of fun. And hopefully they are running the show as far as the offense goes. But again, the big question, I think, for Liam, if this offense is going to be where it needs to be to take that next step, it's going to be about the running game and what can they do to improve that. Can Rachaad White be that guy and find a way to get him unlocked? I think that's going to be very important.
Yeah, a lot of it is like I was mentioning during this coaching search. Hopefully, a guy comes in and realizes, okay, that middle of the line needs to be better.
Yeah.
Right. He even talked about how Tristan Wirfs can be used as a weapon. That was another big talking point. We saw like Detroit, they moved Penei Sewell around and used him as a weapon to kind of on running plays, on pulls, on just lining him up different. You saw it a little bit with Dave Canales with using Luke Gedeke next to Tristan Wirfs to run to that side. Smart utilization of players, right?
Right.
And it's something today's NFL, the new offensive coordinator, bright minds, you got to be able to use every piece, not just your weapons on the outside, by using your line, using diversions to get the defense thinking. And that's what Todd Bowles brought in, guys. I mean, everyone wants to talk bad, but he's got a smart mind too. He's understanding what he has to do. He just needs to have a team stay together. That's hard these days.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. For sure. So I think it'll be interesting to see, like you said, who's going to be added to that interior spot of the offensive line. Will there be upgrades, made there? And see what he likes as far as his offensive line goes and who he brings in as far as his staff. Is he going to bring some guys over from Kentucky? Is it going to be more, guys that he met with LA to come over and help him out? So that'll be very intriguing. I think just Liam, looking at the personnel, I mean, from what we can gather so far, right now, probably going to be Baker at quarterback. You have Rashad at running back. Will he look to add, another guy to the backfield? Maybe. Receiver, I think we might be looking for a guy that can maybe do a little bit of everything like he had with Wendell Robinson, or maybe like a who is the guy in the Rams, like Tutu Atwell, maybe, or maybe someone that's like shifty like that can make people miss. And then obviously I think we talked about it before, but a big emphasis on tight end. I think tight end could be a more involved factor for this offense just because of what they're required to do with the motions and the on the move blocking is a big part of this offense, especially in the run game, where they do those Y motions, or coming out of the backfield and getting on the move blocks, a lot of that stuff that we could see.
Yeah, because I mean, if you think about it, Chris Godwin back in the slot where he was so successful, it's gonna be
Right.
huge. And you saw Cooper Kupp used hugely, especially in the and inside in that same
Yeah.
role where he was knocking guys in their ass in the running game.
Mm.
And then you'd see him break out and get a big catch because, oh crap, he could crack block me, but he didn't. Now he's wide the hell open. So things like that, Chris Godwin's really successful at. Hopefully he sees that, transitions that together. And that's where Canales, you'd hear him. I'd always want to use him on the outside. Always want to use him, get him using his speed in the outside, blah, blah, blah. This is a little bit of a change, yeah, but this is probably something that Chris Godwin's going to really like. I wish my mouse was working, but here it is, yeah. Krulin was saying Godwin had a 1,000-yard season, but only had 2 touchdowns. I felt like it was him getting lost in the laundry all season. Yeah, that is also play call, like you just said.
Yeah.
Like you got to be able to use your guys in the red zone to the best of their ability. I mean, if you put Chris Godwin in the slot inside the 10, inside the 20, you're getting him against a linebacker or safety. I think that would be a mismatch, not just the Mike Evans jump ball. If you put Mike Evans on the side out by himself and they have to shade a safety over there, and then Chris Godwin's closer towards the line, like they like to group everyone in, that is a mismatch. And finding ways to use that, like that's where Canales is trying to learn how to use them. He got better every game. I'm not going to knock that at all. That's why I wanted him to stay. It was just, this is a guy who's been playing play caller at Kentucky multiple times, and he's making the step, but he knows the system of Sean McVay a lot more closer to the vest than Canales would, right? And then he's actually called it and actually seen things that do work or don't work, or the ways where people would attack his play call, which I saw some of his film studies where he was like, yeah, I learned that, who was it? Steve Wilkes, when they were playing Missouri. He's like, I learned a way he beat the crap out of me with a way that I thought I was going to beat him, and they just schemed it up where I just messed it up. And I put the player in a bad position. So he's learning from that aspect as well, which is huge. I mean, it's not just, I lost. It's why did I lose? I'm going to learn from it. I think that's the biggest thing from him learning at Kentucky and bringing it to the NFL now.
Yeah, for sure. And he also talked about like self-scouting. When discussing analytics, it's more, we're going to be looking at these certain things, but also he's going to be more likely or not going with, instinct and gut and understanding, okay, this is more of a feel and see, what's the best opportunity here, or who do I need to get the football to? I think that's a big thing. So I like that. I also like the collaboration that he's going to have with Todd Bowles when it comes to those critical decisions, going for it on fourth down, understanding the situation of, certain game time, 2 minute, you know, have to, timeouts, all that stuff's going to come into the factor. So I like that. And I like that he's going to be given, full reign, which Dave Canales was as well.
Yeah.
But I just feel like I think Liam's just a step above where Dave was, and hopefully we can find a way to unlock, this running attack and be much better as far as a more balanced offense, in 2024.
We all can hope, right?
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of that is the interior line fixing that, but also,
Yeah.
diversions, finding ways to be non-predictable, right? It sounds all good in theory. I mean, Canales was the best speaker, I feel. Like, I think Liam is right there with him with the knowledge of the game and everything. Canales
Right.
just had a flow of things and like long ongoing descriptions of things. Let's see. I mean, uh, either way, you can't be mad about
Mm.
the brain that just got brought in, right? And I'll bring if my mouse decides to keep working, I'll bring up some of his stats at Kentucky. It's huge how much of an influence he had. He went from one season having 20 points a game to the next season have 29, and I think the fourth best offense in the SEC. I mean, think about that.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, it was with Will Levis, but Will Levis wasn't the guy he was until Liam Coen got his hands on him. But
Mhm.
yeah, I guess talk more on the running game until I figure this thing out.
Yeah, I think, what excites me, from what I've seen at Kentucky, it's just the multiple of runs that he utilizes. Like you said, more wide zone runs, more pin and pulls, which has me really excited, where you're down blocking, getting a guy on a pull going around to, get in space and block. So the utilization of Tristan Wirfs, like he talked about that today, using him as a weapon, getting him on the move, I think is going to be great for this offense and seeing more of that. And yeah, so just different runs, mix of duo, mix of inside zone, outside zone. And then you also have, like I talked about with the motion runs, where they get guys moving out into space. I think that's going to be a lot of fun to see. And I think, yeah, I mean, Josh Capo says it right here. I mean, yeah, I think you're going to see all of those, and that will be something that he will do a great job of marrying with the pass, where you can use play action off of those said runs. And then that's going to help Baker as far as, the rollouts, play action pass. It's okay, Mark, if it doesn't work.
I just,
Yeah, no big deal. If you have it up, maybe you can just read it off.
I couldn't even do that. I was trying to
Oh, you couldn't even pull it up. Okay.
Bluetooth was messing up.
All right, no worries. No worries. But yeah, so there's a lot more to this run scheme, I feel. I just hope they can get the right guys up front and the backs to execute it. And I feel we have at least 3/5 of that puzzle, with the left tackle, right guard, and right tackle. Just think they need to figure out, left guard and center, obviously, and see where they can go.
And that's part of the process of now evaluating talent. What do we have on the team? Let's bring some coaches in to understand, okay, can these guys run what I want to run? Right.
Mhm.
He mentioned a lot of taking the burden off of the quarter or putting it more on the players to read like blitz coming in, right? So put it on the center of the quarterback to read this talking together. And
Right.
like I was talking with you earlier, Robert Hainsey is good at identifying certain blitzes that are coming in and shifting the line towards certain areas. Does he stay at center? I don't necessarily know, but that's
Mhm.
going to work to his favor that he's a very smart and heady type of player. Like, does he want to stay there? We'll see. Or do we get a bigger, better center and move Hainsey over to guard or something, right? That's what I'm
Yeah.
hoping happens, but we'll see. And I don't know, getting a second fiddle to Rashad White wouldn't hurt, and he had
Mhm.
a damn good running back in Kentucky and Ray Davis, who did a
Yeah.
little bit of everything. So little things you want to kind of consider when draft time comes around.
Yeah.
All right. So is Baker the man? Is Trask Fish bait. Baker's exit stage right. Do we need another QB? Guys want to know? Me thinks everything hinges on how many free agents we score before the draft. What's your take, Plus?
I think Baker's the guy because again he just makes sense for this offense, and I think they brought in Liam Coen because of Baker Mayfield. Like they want him back moving forward, and I don't think. I mean, who else are you going to get if Baker's not your quarterback? Are you going to go in the free agent market and try to get like a Kirk Cousins or someone of that nature? Again, that's a lot of money. You know, how much do you want to spend? I don't think Baker's going to be getting this ridiculous contract that people are trying to,
Mhm.
think everyone, I don't see that happening. I mean, you and I have discussed it. I think he's found a home here. I think he's very excited to, see where this thing can go. And I think he's just at the stage of his career where he's not going to be chasing the big contract. I think. Um, so, I mean, sure, he'll still get quite a bit, but I just don't see it as a ridiculous contract that the Bucs can't afford. Um, so I think he's the guy. Trask again, I think he's probably just looking for another opportunity once this season is over. I think he's a good backup to have, in case anything happens to Baker. So I see him probably just retaining that role moving forward.
Yeah, and hey, they had their competition last
Mhm.
year. Baker won it fair and square. Yeah, I mean, he did. And then he just grew on that all throughout the season. Cal Trask, you don't know, right? Like you saw some fly, like every year he's gotten better. Every
Mhm.
preseason you see him, first year it was like a wounded duck coming out of his hands. There was not much life to the ball. Second year, you saw a little bit more. You saw a little bit more timing. And then last year, you're like, holy crap, this guy's pretty damn good. He could win the job. Right. And it really was like almost a 50-50 thing with him and
Yeah.
Baker. But hey, he'll get his time. I don't know if it's going to be with the Bucs, but I mean, with the NFL, how it is, with injuries are, he will see. I think he will see his time again. But will
Mhm.
it be starter worthy? Let's see.
Yeah. Yeah, Josh Capo, he doesn't think the Bucs should prioritize center. He's all about getting a left guard. He feels Hainsey is good enough to pair with a better guard on the left side of him. I'm in the opinion they just need to upgrade center. I think you can find guards that can be decent enough where it's not going to hurt you. I think center is very important. You got to have that anchor in the middle of your line. That's why I feel center needs to be the priority.
Yeah, I mean, both is great. Left guard is greater than center. So it's what does this offensive coordinator prioritize more, right? Does
Right.
he care more about the brain that is Hainsey, helping Baker call plays, right? Calling the blitzes, shifting lines, taking it off of Baker's head so he can just read the defense? Or does he value, no, I need a better center that can keep Baker on his feet, not having him have a 6'5" in his face
Mm,
because he's only 6'1", right? Like that is huge.
yeah.
And Hainsey repetitively got pushed back in the pocket. And with that, Baker starts to roll out sometimes where he shouldn't. And then that's where he gets in trouble sometimes holding the ball too long.
Right.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
It could be
I
both.
mean,
But the thing
yeah,
is,
it could be both, and that's why I say you could upgrade both. Like you can get a better left guard, you could get a better center.
I agree with him. Hainsey is better at Stinney.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
agree with
then
that.
okay, then put Hainsey where Stinney was and then get a better center.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and again, I understand maybe not having too much change. If Hainsey does stay, yeah, keep him at the spot he was playing. If you get a new left guard, maybe it's, Jackson Power Johnson, you put him at left guard. Obviously, that improves your interior right there with him, next to Hainsey. Hainsey maybe doesn't have to help as much for Stinney like he did, but again, it's just when Hainsey's on a 101, that's where his issues come, and that's the problem, especially in pass protection where he gets pushed back, it collapses the pocket. He's struggles in the run game where he can't get off certain things, and that is that is something to definitely look at, and we'll see what Liam, thinks of this offensive line.
Yeah, and that was one thing that
Mhm.
I heard on another podcast of Kentucky where
Right.
when he left for that 1 year after they scored 29 points a game, then it dropped back down to they believe it was 21, and the running game went down. And he was like, "What the hell happened to the running game? Like, I
Mhm.
thought that they were good." And that was one thing that they said, "No, we need you to fix this because for some reason it got bad." So
Right.
he understands the running game. Like I know, like you were saying, he's very pass happy. I think his quote was, "He knows you have to pass to win," and that was one thing where
Right.
in the Rams they learned. Okay, well Stafford, we picked him up because he is a good passer. We had to upgrade the quarterback position because golf just wasn't doing it enough. So Stafford took us to that upper echelon where we can pass to win games. We don't have
Mhm.
to rely on the running game as much, and
Right.
that's the big talking point. It's not just we need to have a running game, but we have to have a dangerous passing game for that running game to be even more open. And I
Mm.
think that's where he's evolving his play call and game.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yes and no as far as your question there, Josh. I mean, there was at times where I thought the opposing defense were just attacking Hainsey because they knew, he's the weak link. Yeah, Stinney was getting beat as well. So there's again, I just feel like both areas need to be improved, in my opinion. I'll have to go back and we'll go back and watch the film, but definitely see an opportunity there for upgrades. Now, again, like we said, just depends. What does Liam want as far as offensive lineman? What does he prefer? I know at Kentucky they had bigger guys, like they had big offensive linemen. Now, again, college is different than NFL.
Yeah.
You got to have. Does he want big guys that can move? Athleticism. So yeah, set the ring up.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be a fun match. Um, but yeah, I'm excited just to see different and variety that he's
What are we waiting for?
the circus. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited to see what he brings. It should be a lot of fun.
Yeah. And then like one-on-ones is kind of hard. Like the only people are truly getting one-on-ones are usually the tackles because it
Yeah.
matters the alignment that defensive line puts on. I mean, if there's a true nose, okay, yeah, the center is going to get true one-on-one. But a lot of it's where they line up and kind of how the offense is. They make you think it's going to be one thing, but then everyone stunts or everyone rushes towards one side where they think it's a weakness.
Mhm.
Like how it sets up doesn't necessarily mean how it's going to be, and that's offense and defense alike, right?
Yeah.
Um, I mean, either way, to me, Stinney was just a repetitive weakness in the middle. And yes, left guard wasn't the best, but Stinney did enough in the running game and
Mhm.
pass pro, like it just enough. It wasn't a deliberate hole. I mean, it
Yeah.
wasn't in the Beninock, put it that way.
Yeah.
Fast.
He
I
was
mean,
serviceable.
yeah. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna knock everyone, but I mean, there was just areas where you would see, okay, this is gonna be a area of weakness moving forward. And
Mhm.
it just showed in the tape.
Yeah. So I mean, it'll be interesting to see what they can do there. Um, how are they going to utilize? What do they think of Cody Mock? Like, what's the plan for him? Is he going to be your future center, or do you like him at right guard? Those things they have to work through. And obviously, a big thing. It depends on if they do get, like the Kentucky's, if they do get the Kentucky's offensive line coach, that was a former coach at San Francisco, because, a lot of that run game is similar to what the Rams like to do. And there's a lot of movement on it. So you got to have guys that can move, and athleticism is key, but also, there's power involved as well. So yeah, that will be definitely something to dive into as far as draft study. Like, what type of um, player profiles is this guy going to be looking for as far as offensive staff, and definitely talk with Jason Light moving forward. So that makes it fun for us because, again, you have to look at different tendencies, really open your eyes to new players that we might not have looked at, in years past. So try to get, some tendencies built up, and see what you can find, and really identify some draft targets or even free agency targets that would make sense.
And it's what do they do? It's another awesome drama-filled season because
Mhm.
I mean, this team itself keeps evolving every year, and it's not
Yeah.
just because we're getting new players in, but like it is Todd Bowles' team now. Like
Right.
it's he's making decisions. Like we didn't even look at Kalijah Cansey because we're like, oh, this is just the defense they are, big fat guys in the middle,
Yeah.
ass linebackers behind them. They blitz A gap. That's just what they do. Defensive tackles just
Mm.
occupy space for those middle linebackers.
Yeah.
They just changed the script with this guy, right? Yes,
Mhm.
he's quick in the running game, but he doesn't stand up and hold guys consistently.
Yeah.
He just said, I need to get after the damn quarterback. And he's evolving as well. So, like, those that say they just brutally hate Todd Bowles, I don't understand it. Yes, I get the timeouts thing. I get that.
Mhm.
Sometimes being conservative with a field goal. What do you think about the Lions? I mean, if they kick some of those field goals, they're probably winning that game.
Mhm.
So, like, it's pick and choose what you want to say about the guy. He's evolving. He's staying with today's NFL. He's getting younger minds around him, and his defensive staff look like they stay intact. And that's his bread and butter. He's doing good on that, and
Mm.
let's see if we can improve on that. So he has his little holes. Let's see what the heck they do on the offensive side. And it's cool to see where our direction is going to be going, though.
Yeah, for sure. We got a direction. We have a plan. There's a guy in place that understands what he's doing, and he has experience as well. Calling at this level and also the college level. So I think that's really cool because it just gives you more insight, and also this guy can be an asset for Jason and his staff as well. From a player evaluation standpoint. Not just for Kentucky players, but pretty much the SEC. So that will be exciting to see if that helps at all, or if anything comes, apparent as far as their draft strategy moving forward in the next couple of months. Obviously, free agency comes first, but like we said in the beginning, his priority right now is finalizing a staff. So, got to get offensive line coach, you got to get receivers coach in here. Who's going to be quarterbacks coach, all these positions, who's going to be finalized, who's staying and who's going. Is the some of the guys like Skip Pete or John Van Dam, are they coming back? So those questions should be answered hopefully in the next couple of weeks. That will be exciting, and you can kind of get an idea of what he's trying to come up with and assemble here. But I think the main thing I got from today is he wants to be physical. So I think you're going to see that mentality. And that starts with the run game. So really, that's going to be the question for him. Can he unlock this running offense? If he can, then I see sky's the limit. I think this offense could be really good, really dangerous, could easily score, 24 to 27 points a game if that run game is there to marriage with the pass game.
Yeah, and actually, let's talk on that. So,
Yeah.
someone was mentioning how Liam Coen is a Todd Bowles guy. And I
Mm,
was like, what does that even mean? And they were comparing that it was the points per game. Like
mm,
Todd Bowles' offenses are like 18 points per game
yeah.
type of guys, right?
Typically struggle. Yeah.
Really struggle, right? And then the comparison was Liam Cohen's time he was calling plays for the Rams and they scored 18 point something points a game. That was a time they didn't have Stafford.
Mhm.
Cup was out. Baker Mayfield was throwing to Tutu Atwell is number one, and number two is Van Jefferson.
Right.
Come on. I mean,
Yeah. But you
hell,
also have to look
Byron
at
Leftwich was probably scoring 10 points a game with that.
yeah, let me see if I can bring up those last 5 games because they actually put up
More
I
points
mean,
than Sean McVay
yeah,
for beginning of the year. I think he put up 19.7 and McVay put
right.
up 18 point something. So like,
Yeah. I
come
mean,
on.
it was an improvement.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can I'll bring up let me see if
If
I
you
can
don't
bring
have
up
to working.
yeah, cuz you're I'll try to bring up Baker's game log here. But yeah, I there's so much that goes into that. And we talked about it as well. And I can see where that person was trying to make points, but also there's just so much context
Yeah.
that goes into that as far as, scoring. So it makes it tough. I don't think, Todd is not going into the season saying, oh, well, I hope my defense just holds them to 17 and my offense scores 18 to win. So yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna let you finish.
well, I don't know what you're laughing at.
No, it just that's how some people think though sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, it's like he wants to put up points. Like the guy, I have to give him credit. He is trying to improve on, his time here as far as being head coach. He understands that, he has to win. Obviously it's a win now league, but let's look at, I mean, here's the last, I think, yeah, these are the last couple of games. So he started this game here, right? So he had 5 games with the 5 games with the Rams. So 17, 12, okay, not great. But then 51. So obviously that's inflated, that inflates it a bit. Only 10. So yeah, not great. And then 16. But again, like you said, the context goes into that. I mean, what was around him, offensive line, receivers. Obviously, he was sacked quite a bit in these games. So again, some of that could be him, some of that could be the offensive line. So yeah, a lot of that goes into it. But I mean, when
I
you
mean,
really look at when you look at the games and you watched every game, Mark,
yeah,
I mean, there was drop passes, there
100%.
was there was a lot of mistakes on things that the offensive coordinator can't control. And I think that's what people forget to look at.
And bring that schedule back up. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, sure.
because I remember watching this and thinking, "Holy crap, they should be in every damn game." And
Yeah.
like even the Chargers game where it's
Mhm.
31-10, that looks terrible, but there were so
Right.
many damn drops. But there were opportunities there where again, Baker's learning this offense on the fly and he's supposed to execute at a high level against pretty good teams. I mean, Green
Mhm.
Bay, Chargers, and Seattle, 3 out of those 5 were pretty damn good teams.
Yeah.
And this guy just came in, okay, tell me what it is. I'm supposed to run this. Okay, fine. He did help him a lot in that Denver game with running the ball, but a lot of
Yeah.
these were actually good defenses that stopped the run and forced Baker to do that. Baker was only 11 of 19 against the Chargers, not because they took him out, because they were just like, you know what, just run the damn ball.
Mhm.
That's not put you in a place where we're just going to beat the crap out of you because you don't know what the hell you're doing just yet. You didn't have a whole offseason to learn the system. Let me give you the easy ones. Let me give you just the lob ups, right? The alley oops.
Yeah.
You couldn't, and I hated how media was like, "Oh God, he had this one game in Denver that was pretty good, but other than that, he was trash." Like what? Like it's hard evaluating on that. And
Mhm.
yeah, like did he call great games with what he had? Maybe not great, but he did enough in some situations to win. They could have just packed it in, right? And he was saying how Baker ignited that team to
Right.
try and be competitive. So yeah, a lot of it is now he gets a whole offseason to develop what he wants, put into place, and it's not like he has Van Jefferson and Tutu Atwell. You're
Yeah.
potentially bringing back Baker, bringing back Mike Evans.
Mhm.
Chris Godwin's here.
Right.
Kate Otton's gonna improve if they don't add to the room, and then you have
Right.
Rashad White who can make plays in the backfield and the outside wide. Like he just has multiple things he can bring at you, and
Right.
I don't know. Let's see what happens when he can open it up in an
Yeah.
NFL offense.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like it brings up questions of, what does he see in Trey Palmer? Is this a guy that he likes or could utilize as far as, being that deep option or maybe being that underneath, speed option to utilize? Or, does he like, Devin Tompkins? Is Devin Tompkins going to be utilized more as a weapon? So that'll be interesting to see. And speaking of Devin Tompkins, let me bring this up here because the Buccaneers have been interviewing special team coaches as well, because that is a position that is vacated because Keith Armstrong retired over the weekend. So I feel like that's actually good news for the Buccaneers special teams because I think they needed a new voice there. I don't think Coach Bowles was ever going to fire Keith Armstrong because of how close the relationship is. But I feel like this is a blessing in disguise. But let me bring this up here. So I really like this one. I think this one would probably be the top guy to get if they are going to get somebody, and that's Seahawks special teams coordinator, Larry Izzo. He was a player as well, and has done very good with the Seahawks special teams. They've always been in the top 10. He also has a history with Jason Light. Well, not really a history, but they were in the same building when Jason Light was with the Patriots. So I think that could be a certain connection there. But I feel like he would be big time. Now, if they don't go with Larry, I also like this one, which would be Keith Tandy. Keith Tandy, always always a good special teams player. He's been an assistant coach for the Bucs, so maybe his voice can bring something different, to the special teams core. But I feel like if this unit can improve greatly, that would be very awesome because it would help out everyone, right? Better field position, and just helping out your offense and your defense.
Yeah, we have all world punter, right?
Right.
Kick the crap
Good
out.
kicker.
Good, really good. Probably the best kicker in the league last year, just about.
Right. Yep.
And you just need to complement that with return games. I feel like we've never had a return game, like ever. Yeah, we had little spurts with like Clifton Smith, Michael Spurlock, Carl the Truth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, like there were little blips, and like they've never really been a good special teams team, right? Like that's always an area of weakness that we would get beat on and defending it, and then times where we just wouldn't do anything to help our offense to move it. So we need some improvement there. I know it's all about offensive defense, but that is an aspect of the game that can make or break. I mean, the Bears pretty much made it to the Super Bowl off of Devin Hester a lot of times.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you look at back then Kansas City Chiefs with Dante Hall. I mean, that was their offense. Like they found ways to get good field position and took advantage of that. So I think if our return game can take another step forward, if our coverage units can be a little bit sharper and better, especially working behind a great punter like Jake Camarda, and then also having a good kicker. So understanding, those things, if we can get a return touchdown, every now and then, that would be huge. Like having opportunities to set up big returns and understanding how to do that more consistently. I think that will be a big factor. And maybe it's just finding the right guy to do the returns. Is that Devin Tompkins? I don't know. He's shown signs where he can, do some good things. Like he's had big returns in the past. But it's just the inconsistencies of can we get that going? I know it's harder to do it on kickoff, because again, they always kick it out of the end zone or whatever. But on punt return, that's definitely something that needs to be, taken a step forward.
And let's see, right? We're going to get a lot more names coming in.
Right.
Who wants to coach with Liam Coen? Does he bring guys from the Saints or not Saints, the Rams or Kentucky? I mean, it remains to be seen, but I mean, I like the head. Let's see what we can bring with it, right? I mean, he talks very, very well. It's kind of hard to know what the hell is going to happen after this. But either way, we know a direction. Like you said, let's see if we can improve in many areas, not just because I think people were just so surprised that he was actually, I guess, well educated in the game of football.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean he knows his stuff. Obviously, he's a former.
Good. Bucs are just a small market. They're trash. They just deserve a guy who can only say like 3 words and that's it.
Yeah. No, I mean this guy is a former quarterback. He played college football. He didn't make it to the NFL as a player, but understood he could be a coach, and obviously has worked his way up, and he understands the game, I think, in the right way. I like how he sees it. So to recap, I mean, the big things we're going to see is motion, a lot of pre-snap motion, play action. I think is going to be huge. The diversity in the run game, and also finding ways to get the football to your best players. And that is huge. Like it's about players, not plays, right? Mm-hmm. So that's going to be a big emphasis for this offense. But like I've said before, earlier, I think the key to everything to unlock it is going to be this running game. Like, can they figure it out? Can they be a run offense that can average 4 yards per carry? And that's not saying much. Like if they can do that, they'll be golden. Like if they can get it up to 4 yards per carry, I think Rashad had 3.7 was it last year. So if they can get up to 4, I think that's a huge step forward. And that will be the big thing, to see as far as this offense taking that next step and getting to the 24-point mark where you need to be. And if your defense can improve, then you got something cooking. You're right there with the likes of Detroit, San Francisco, and these contenders that are there every year.
Like Christopher Cole said, addition
Yeah.
by subtraction. On the defensive side of the ball, I think we all know which player we're talking about. But offensively, let's say, I mean, it's not that far off. Like you just said, if the running game improves, passing game can vastly improve.
Right.
Baker's best on the play action rollouts. If you get linebackers baiting in more, I mean, that's
it
one
opens. Yeah, opens middle of the field.
Yeah. If watch any film study with your new offensive coordinator, Liam Coen, they're keying in on we got to get a running game to suck in those linebackers so we can attack that area.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's San Francisco. What do you think they do? Right? They run the ball really efficiently well, makes Brock Purdy look a lot better because those linebackers got to think too much. You did a false step forward, or like Devin White would do, 5 false steps forward, and whatever's behind you is wide open. And that's why middle field is usually the hardest area to attack. But you got a defense thinking, it opens up. And it's you playing the defense instead of the other way around. So, and tied in for the seam right here.
Oh, we both did it.
What do you know? Bye-bye, Sebastian. But
here, I'll add it back up there. But yeah, tight end, I think that's going to be a priority. A hidden priority, I think, because I think that's going to be something that we're going to be looking at. Dane, not Dane, Payne Durham. Payne Durham is nice. Cade Otton is nice. I think Cade is a very solid number 2 tight end. But I think they're going to see if they can upgrade and maybe find a guy that can, stretch the field, but also do that physical blocking as well, especially on the move. So that'll be because you look at Tyler Higbee, like that guy can pretty much do a little bit of everything. Like he can get downfield, he can run, he can do the motion, blocking, all that stuff. So that is something to definitely look for this offseason.
And he's a guy that can push the seams. I mean, he's not just a blocker. He's athletic enough to make a linebacker turn and run.
Right. Yeah. And Cade tries, but again, he just doesn't have that athleticism to hit that next gear. Like he's more good with that underneath options, hitting the safe routes where he's out in the flats or he's coming across the field. All those things play him well.
Yeah, he just doesn't have that other gear. I remember in training camp this year, I was like, who the hell is that? That guy can't make the team. He's so slow. I was like, geez, get some sand out of your ass or something. I don't know. But he's just he's very reliable. Don't get me wrong. He's walking up better throughout the season. Maybe not reliable in end zone catches at times, but I don't know what the hell it is up with that. But I mean, I think that is an area they need to improve on. But it's not a glaring weakness at all. It's a push, right? But you can't have a Pro Bowl or a dominant player in every position. So
no,
right. So you value what you have.
Right. I don't think they'll force it, but if there's something there that could be had, they'll definitely take a look at it.
Yeah. I mean, what did Shane Waldron draft Noah Fant? And that was just a disaster.
Oh no, they traded for him.
Oh, they traded for him.
Yeah, they traded for him. So there you go. Yeah. And he's been a big weapon for them.
Yeah. I mean,
so
I'll
have to look. I mean, I'll have to look at Kentucky's offense. I'll have to look at Kentucky's offense as far as like who they have at tight end. I know they were more receiver driven. Obviously, Ray Davis was their offense last year. He pretty much ran the show. They also had quarterback issues. So, but yeah, that's something to look for. Like, see what type of tight ends, what the body type is. Their type of offensive lineman. So that will be definitely keep your eyes on that, guys, and see what happens. But with that said, everyone in here, if you haven't, be sure to hit that like button. Be sure to leave us comments what you guys think of the live stream. Your thoughts on Liam Coen as offensive coordinator. Let us know if there's anything of content that you want us to look into. We'll definitely try to do that and get more out there. But yeah, I mean, it should be a lot of fun. I'm really excited about this hire, and can't wait to dive into it further as we move forward.
And then also we're going to be diving into a lot of draft prospects. I mean, this is the fun time, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Who are we going to
So,
get, right? Not just looking at areas where we see weakness for the Bucs. Let's look at those guys. Let's look at everything. What is this class coming in? And if someone gets drafted on our opposing teams, like Dave Canales Panthers team, I want to know what the hell we're going to be facing. If we should even be worried, kind of thing, right? So it's going to be fun, guys. Whatever you guys want us to look at as well. If there's players you want, don't be shy. Shoot us a comment. Let us look into them too more. Let's look at some of the higher caliber players first before we start looking into like 7th round guys. Because sometimes people put some names. I'm like, who?
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see what we. But then again, freaking Jason Light always drafts D3. I feel like. But let's see. Like, it's gonna be a fun ride. It always is. And now we have our direction. I'm excited.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. So, with that said, thank you all for joining us here tonight. Appreciate all the comments, the questions, the regulars in here always doing their thing. So much appreciated to you all. We can't do this without you guys. So you guys pretty much you run it. You run Real Bucs Talk as you go, we go. So we really help you guys really help us out, and we really appreciate it. But with that said, I hope everyone has a great evening. Great rest of your week, and just stay tuned for the next Real Bucs Talk video. Hopefully we'll have something later out this week, and then obviously a live stream next week to discuss any latest news or just more dive into what's coming up as far as free agency and the draft. But with that said, until then, see you on the next one.